Coming up this week on Arts Matter, we're dancing with our own stars right here in Burlington. In January 1999, two professional ballroom dancers brought their great talent to Burlington. Andrew Nicholson is with Robert and Beverley at danceScape.
And thanks, Deb. I'm now joined by Robert Tang and Beverley Cayton-Tang, and they may well be people you might know, but I'm going to introduce them and you will know who they are. You guys are Canadian champions.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right, we are.
Okay, Canadian champions of what though? That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Yes.
We're actually Canadian and North American amateur ballroom champions.
Fantastic. Now, we've talked to you a couple of times before. You're quite famous in this town of Burlington, by the way.
Okay.
You are.
At least the good things and for dancing.
That's right. Now let's talk about danceScape, because that's your business.
That's right.
Now, you guys both came out of something that wasn't really ballroom dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what your history is.
Well, my history was I worked for the Southern Ontario Library Service. I'm a library technician by trade, and so that is what I did by day, and by night was competing at the time.
Very good. Now, Robert?
And for me, if you remember the movie Shall We Dance, or the Japanese version Shall We Dance Too, I was that marketing manager working at a corporate job, looking for something exciting to do, and I found it through dance. My parents actually at the time were taking their first lessons, and my sister and I followed them to their first competition, and I was just blown away. First of all, that was how I saw Beverly. She was already the provincial champion, so she was in this glam ball gown, so how could anyone not resist the glamour?
Not the woman, just the glamour. Okay, I got it. No, the woman. That's nice. That's nice. That's really nice. Yeah.
And then from then on, a partner was available at the time, and it felt like something fun to do, so I started on that journey. The coach was an English lady, very prim and proper, but very, very passionate. Passed that on to myself, and through a series of circumstances, Beverly became available. And I had to work really hard to catch up. We then made a decision first to see how we would get along. And I had a secret crush on her anyway, so that helped. And then from there, I think we connected on a personal level first. We were both dedicated in what we wanted to do. I was very interested in her, so that was a great motivation. And we went to Montreal, we went to England, took lessons, and at that time, the Quebec scene was extremely strong. So we became kind of the underdogs in trying to vie for the championship titles, and we made our way through the ranks. I think we were a very unusual looking couple. Well, I'm unusual looking.
She was glamorous. Now, you messed everything up, because she was glamorous, now you say she's unusual. I don't get that.
Being a mixed race couple, I think we were probably
You are?
the first. I only sound Caucasian. But being the first mixed race couple probably to excel in that, and ultimately becoming first Canadian champions. We won 3 times. And then going towards the North American title was another big hurdle, because now you're competing against all of North America, basically.
And basically the North American Championship is what they do, is they have it one year it's in America and the next year it's in Canada. Mm-hmm. And what was great for us is that we won that title. Our first time winning that was in the States.
Oh, very well done.
It wasn't here.
Good. Did you wrap yourself with a Canadian flag? Run around in circles?
Actually, the answer
We were
to that
politically
would be,
correct.
we had our training gear was all maple leaf.
Very good.
We got that specially. It was some company in Alberta that does that kind of thing. So
Right.
that was, as we walked around, we always had our maple leaf stuff on wherever we went.
Now, we talk about a ballroom dance being very, very structured, and there's a lot of etiquette to it. So if you walk in as Canadians walking around with all this maple leaf stuff, is that not somewhat skewing the etiquette?
You know what? I think we were just young and naive. We just did whatever felt right, which was we were proud of being Canadians,
yeah.
and we in this field. So we happen to, mix very well also with the couples from Montreal. So we actually became perceived as Canadian. Also, we were training in Montreal, so that helped boost the. So it was actually an advantage to be Canadian.
So I already know that you're the IT sort of version of Billy Elliot. So that's good.
I wouldn't know that's on IT, but yeah, marketing anyway. Marketing communications.
So now he's pretty well professed his absolute undying passion for you from day one. How did you feel about Robert?
How did I feel about Robert?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I knew Robert's parents before I knew him because they started taking lessons first, so I knew of them. And then I do remember him being at the event. And I do remember also him coming to the hall and practicing all by himself.
Very much Billy Elliot-like.
He would, honest to God, I mean, he would be sweating by the end of practicing it on his own, which these, people are very uncomfortable about doing that, but that was just, he just wanted to excel, and he just wanted to do his best. In fact, he went up against a competition with his parents, so his very first event, and his dad was telling him, this is pep talk, what you should do, and this is how it goes, and all this sort of stuff.
Don't worry, you don't do well, it's just what counts.
Yeah, well, he beat him.
So I think it's
So it was a quiet ride home.
It was.
I was going to say, so Mom and Dad weren't happy anyway. He got his first win. Son, you did well, but get out of here.
Yes. You take some people out sometimes.
So just out of interest, this is funny to me because I'm a coach. So what kind of pep talk do you have when you're getting ready for a ballroom dance competition?
I think,
What one for the Gipper?
You know what, it's like anything else. You're coming into an unknown situation, and every parent can probably relate to this. You want your kids to do the best that they can in anything, and coming from a Cantonese family, I mean, excellence and that is always something that is cultural, or that's not. But yeah, the pep talk is essentially the same as any parent would, if you're disappointed, don't be. You try your best, you do the things. I think that's the underlying message. So that was the pep talk. And then after that is make sure you close your feet on a natural.
And then it becomes very specific.
Exactly, yeah. Hold your chin up high, look really, really commanding, and that's exactly what is involved in it. There's a skill, there's also the presentation skill that's involved, and those things sometimes you can teach, and sometimes you have to drive yourself to say, look at us, look at me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how...
Well, one of the things, because we did represent Canada in 5 World Championships, and so when you're there then on the world scale, it's very much like it was our Olympics, because you would walk in and you would walk in under your flag and you would do the whole thing, which is very, very, I have to tell you, more than once, tears were shed, because it's quite something to do that in another country. And but you have to walk in there, and you're no longer Robert Tang Beverley who live in Burlington and whatever. You have to be out there and commanding, and you are the best, right? And
Well, stay with us, because we'll be back right after this, and we'll tell you how much they are the best.
And as you dance, be sure to step in line with each other.
Okay, we're back now, and folks, we're watching one of your competitions. What is this, Beverly?
This is it's called Dance Montreal, and this is currently the waltz.
Okay.
It's going to jump to quick step.
Okay, so we're watching Quickstep. Okay, so now
That's a waltz, right?
let's talk about the whole process.
Right.
You walk in, there's a parade in, right?
Yeah, well, not all the time. I mean,
Okay.
it depends on the event. If it's a very big event, there will be a parade. Yeah.
Okay,
So basically what happens in a competition is, for example, you have a quarterfinals with 48 couples. So you're split up into heats. So each heat, it's like elimination. The judges will choose a certain member into the next round. Your goal is to end up in the final 6, because that's the finals. And from there, the judges will rank you from 6 up to number 1. How you're evaluated on is how well you move around the floor, how well you execute some of the steps. Here you're seeing we're doing open work, but also if other couples on the floor, how well is the couple moving around each other and how they're communicating with each other.
Now, Beverly, if I see you, your head positioning and stuff, that's everything, that's all part of what you're trying to, that's all part of the presentation, right?
That's right, that's
okay.
right.
And is that choreographed? Do your head slide side to side? Is what?
That's all part of whatever figure that you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now explain what a figure is, I'm sorry.
Well, a figure is a group of steps, basically.
Okay.
And so as part of those group of steps, there'll be movement that happens up and through the body and through the head. And so it's not just at feet level, it's movement that comes all the way up and through the body, but is also then led by Robert to create height and lift through the body to change the head.
And how a competition works is that what you see us doing is the open or the championship, but there are different levels. There's pre-bronze and bronze to silver and gold. So we all start off learning the basic figures or steps, as well as the aesthetics of ballroom, how the posture should be, where a lady's posture should be. A lot of times people think the lady, her back should be straight on her spine, but no, there's certain ways that are in the style of waltz or tango where you're also evaluated on what the character of the dance is, and the posture and positioning is part of that.
Now I'm looking at this, and now we have separation between the two of you. That's the end of the dance,
That's in between the dances, yeah.
Okay, all right. So we have 1 minute now. The footwork, the speed is dictated by you, Robert, or the dance itself, or the music? What the footwork, the speed?
Yeah, the speed is dictated partially by the music, by the choreography and how intricate the steps are, and how we respond and react to each other. So you will see, for example, beginner couples are slower to respond, but at a higher level, the communications between each couple is so fast that and also the difference between how you hold certain things and how you come out quickly will also give that light and shade or that speed that the audience sees. And all of that takes a lot of work. That's why, we always say, when you first start off, you have to learn your basics well, and then each is a foundation to be able to do the open work that you see here or on Dancing with the Stars.
Now, Beverly, I noticed that the two of you sort of give yourself space between the other couples. Is that a planned thing? Do you want to get out on your own into a larger space?
Absolutely. You don't want to be crowded by everybody else. You're wanting your space to do your thing and to be seen by the judges. I mean, that's the point, to be seen by the judges. So, oh yeah, for sure, as much as you can.
Fantastic stuff, guys. That's beautiful stuff. I would love to see more of this. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We are here with the best. Now we finished, Beverly, we finished with the best. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite people in the world, Deb Tymstra, who happens to be a producer of this fine show, she wanted me to ask you this really important question. Why did you start here in Burlington? Why did you bring ballroom to Burlington?
Well, we've always said that we traveled the world competing and doing our thing, but we always came back home. And we love the community, always have, and I think obviously we lived here and we wanted to bring our passion here to the people of Burlington so that they could take a little bit of what we've enjoyed over the years, and then we can impart our knowledge to them.
Now, when we had a little break there, we had a little chat. One of the things I do a lot of coaching, as I mentioned, right? Burlington is known as very much a sports-oriented town. Mm-hmm. Now, with Deb and I being created Burlington Arts Matters to me, we feel that the arts are just as important as sports in this town. You have taken dance and you sort of spun it into a fitness thing. Mm-hmm. Expand on that. Tell us why you just see dance as being part of fitness, or vice versa.
Yeah, I think for us, ballroom in particular is actually very unique, and ballroom on competition level and the competitive level is called dance sport. So that's why it's a merger of dance with sport. There are elements of what we do that is pure performance-based, and you can appreciate the art of ballroom, but there is a competitive nature. It's been tested that the equivalent of what we do is similar to middle distance running. And that's why for us, even when we trained, we had exercises and fitness to increase our fitness level, because in a competition of 5 dances, you're dancing about 12 to 15 minutes straight dancing, so you need your stamina, and you have to change from fast quick step to slow waltz to slow foxtrot, quickly up again to Viennese waltz, so that you have to pace yourself. And that's kind of why we see dance, or ballroom in particular, as dance sport, that nice merger of dance with athletics.
Now, when you're dancing, obviously, is breathing a big part of what you're trying to do?
It absolutely is, and in the beginning you don't breathe. And I did my whole first competition, and I don't think I
You didn't pass out.
No, and you'll talk to, most dancers will tell you that the very first event they ever did, they didn't take a breath through the whole thing, because you're just sort of like, you're there. But yeah, you get used to the position that you have to be in, and breathing, but it's in a very contained way.
And to add to that too, when you see competitive ballroom, it's like a game of chess for the man's point of view, because you're taking your partner and you're trying to navigate around the floor, and the variable is anyone can cut across your path. And sometimes the most excitement I get is you have a very narrow window, 2 couples there, and you have a very split second to speed past them. And that's what I think men get out of that. And that's why when you see shows like Dancing with the Stars, it is, the current athletes who are doing so amazing, who have a track record of winning. And it's that competitive nature mixed in with the grace, elegance, and timing. Timing is so important. So whether it's speeding through the narrowest window or timing through the music that you feel, that's something that, we enjoy doing, and others as well.
And that's very interesting from a lady's point of view, because when you see the narrow path that he's going to take, you go, oh no, not through there. You just have to go with it.
So when you're in a competition, Beverley, do you obviously, I assume this is an assumption on my part, and I apologize for that. You are leading, obviously, okay. As a woman, you're just sort of, you know where he's going, you know what he wants to do, sort of, or you know exactly what he wants to do?
You have a sort of a routine. You have a routine that you go and you practice and that. However, that routine just goes to pot when you go on the competition floor, because basically there are, there's maybe 12 to 16 couples on the floor at one point. So you can go in and out of the routine that you have. And in terms of the lead is so good, it gets so good that I have known him to change his mind on something, and then change it back again within a split second, and I've been able to read all of that.
Well,
So
I would like to add that if you were to have asked that question 10, 20 years ago, I think the stereotype within me man, me lead, woman, you follow.
Yeah.
But the reality, coming from an Eastern culture, it is more like yin and yang. There is this leading element, but the reaction is equally as important, and I don't think a lot of people understand that or still have that perception. So I don't perceive that I am leading per se all the time, because I relax sometimes to let her take over, to let her present, or that narrow window is something that comes with a longer partnership, because the things that people don't see, the connection with our rib cage, the subtle squeezing of the hand, the rotation of the body is something that comes in, and that's where we communicate non-verbally with each other, and that's very powerful to understand. So
now, as professionals, the highest class professionals, what do you feel about these new dance shows? We only have about 2 minutes, so it's going incredibly fast. But what do you feel as professionals when you watch these dance shows? Are they good for your business, or are they good for dance? What are your thoughts?
I think it's fabulous. I mean, for us to finally watch on television and be in the mainstream what we've known about, most of my adult life, and for a good part of yours, it's just fabulous to watch. And we also understand what, the hours that they have to put into that to get what you're seeing on television, because it's not a quick.
And I think also what we get out of it is we see ourselves at that early stage of trying something new and being passionate about that, and that is something that we get as coaches. So the person that first experiences that first step is so afraid, because dancing is probably next to public speaking, is a great fear for a lot of people. And I think that's why sometimes people make fun of it because of that fear, but not as much now, because we find with the shows especially, they get a little glimpse into what happens in the dance studio. It is the family life. It is the passion of people coming together. It is the relationship between the coaches and the mentoring that is so important and that you take with you. And we ourselves coming from a high elite level, we have a lot of knowledge to pass on, but at the same time, we love people who have that spark and that desire, and sometimes that's what you balance, talent with the desire to practice and maybe not have the natural talent, but still that some special something that makes them work hard and enjoy what
Now,
they do.
the special something, I have one question. We're right out of time. One question. Why does art matter to you?
Oh, because it feeds the soul.
Feeds us all. That feeds us all like that. And you?
That's a great question. I've never been asked that one before. I think art matters because it is just something that takes you beyond the everyday norm of what we all do, whether you work, whether you have to do the laundry, the grocery, and it takes you to another state of inspiration, that there is something better that we can all do with life, with our relationships with people. I think that's what art matters for us and for me in particular.
Fantastic. What can I say? Inspiration, brilliance, fantastic stuff. I'll be back right after this with Deb. Stay with us, please. In Holton County and East Flamborough, the arts do matter. Now, arts community, you have your own television show. Arts Matters. Keep an eye out.
When I introduced the show, I introduced it as Dancing with Our Stars, and truly Robert and Beverly are stars in Burlington. They've taken their passion and they've taken their expertise and built a really unique business right here in town.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that we have someone that high up in the world in their chosen profession, I guess, or passion, and they're doing really well with it. And it's great to bring that to a bedroom community like Burlington.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I found very unique in danceScape and in Beverly and Robert is that they are focused on people of our generation, and obviously younger because there is a competitive side to it. But for people like us, for example, you said you can't dance at all. Your wife is a beautiful salsa dancer.
No, I said I can dance, but she won't let me dance.
Well, she is. That's true. I've seen it. Yes, she is. And I have a fear of dancing because I don't know how to do it very well. So what they offer is something that is so geared to what you and I would have perhaps as a secret passion.
Structure. It's interesting. It's funny because when I first watched my wife dance salsa, you think salsa is very free-flowing and things like that, but what really came across to me was it's incredibly structured. It's surprisingly structured. Now, ballroom is even more structured.
Right.
But people sometimes need that very set pattern to start off with, and with their own personality into it. I think that's what these guys are teaching.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that they are, in fact, moving towards a fitness component of it, and they actually do have a fitness program that is around dance, which is great because you don't have to lift weights and run on the spot, and we don't have to, get out our cans of juice and skipping ropes and all the other things that we can do. We can actually have fun and socialize and communicate with other people and learn something that we can get all dressed up and be elegant for.
Yeah, and when you go to a wedding, you can actually look normal.
Or do it because you're getting married.
Already done that twice.
I'm sorry for you. Anyway, I always looked at Robert and Beverly as a real treasure here in Burlington, and actually as a result of the show today, I have to say that I don't think they're just a treasure in Burlington. I think they are a Canadian treasure. Yeah, they've introduced ballroom dancing to all of us, and you can see them dancing by the water for the celebration of the brand 10 and so on and so forth. I would encourage all of you to seek them out because...
Speaking of seeking them out, how do people find them, Deb?
They have a website, www.danceScape.com. A tremendous thing that you might be very interested in. We've really enjoyed being with them today.
Yes.
And we look forward to meeting you in the ballroom. Thanks for being with us on Arts Matter this week. We'll see you again.